And again, as we constructed the film, I wanted to move us through Genesis, but knew I had to do it in a, shall we say, a more structural with ideas. So geology, and then biology, and then astronomy, and then moving into archaeology, which does have that connection to astronomy. Doug Petrovich, really a great guy. And filming at the Oriental Institute was that was one of my favorite places.
It's fantastic.
I love that museum. Everybody ought to go see that museum. It's just an amazing museum.
Weeks in there.
We could have spent weeks there. Just a fantastic curator that helped us out, and just really a great experience. What I appreciated about Doug, though, was his willingness to take archaeological data and put it within this framework. And we had to cut a lot of Doug's stuff out, as we did with everybody. But Doug has spent a lot of time looking at various data, putting it into this dispersion, and his knowledge was immense. I mean, it was really quite impressive. He's a linguist. He just came out with a new book talking about this proto-consonantal script, meaning what was the first script out there. And his argument, of course, Moses developed it off hieroglyphics and able to write the law. Very interesting stuff. But I think that was a useful way, because then we're moving into the real data that's human data. So whether it's towers and buildings and vases and lug jars and all these different things, pots and Remagen bricks that have been found. And I think that's a really interesting world of getting into archaeology. And I really like that we were able to bring it up to Abraham, which, interestingly enough, he's not introduced in Genesis 12, he's introduced in Genesis 11 as the son, the line of Shem, who goes through Terah. And what's so funny, people say, well, I was talking to somebody, said, well, when does the history of Genesis really begin? When does it become history? It's a great question to ask people who don't hold it to history. So when does it become history? I mean, there's nothing textual about it. He said, well, I think about Genesis 11 because of Abraham. Well, Abraham's Genesis 12. Abraham's Genesis 11. He's not in 12. I mean, 11 goes full straight out of 10. So you can't pull it away. But I just really found that I love archaeology and really was impressed with these artifacts that demonstrate a real people in space-time that really walked with God. Or in this case, were trying to build a tower up to God.
Yeah, his walking through with us the various pottery forms and how those forms were seen, and you could track that artifact and the mechanism and the means by which they made those pots.
Right.
You could track that same pot and follow then, therefore, the dispersion of people. That was really fascinating.